All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty exciting today, something that's really kind of turning the archaeology world on its head.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for this? There's this site, Flagstones, that everyone thought was just another one of those ancient circles.
Hmm.
Turns out it's way older than Stonehenge,
Yeah.
like way, way older.
That's right.
We're talking 300 years older.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to be taking a look at what this means, like what this means for how we understand these iconic monuments.
Yeah.
And we're basing this all on some excerpts from an article, Flagstones, Dorset Burial Site, and Stonehenge Dating Revision.
I mean, the title kind of says it all, right?
It really does.
Yeah.
This discovery is, well, it's pretty much challenging everything we thought we knew about Stonehenge. The timeline, maybe even what inspired it. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It really is.
No, absolutely. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Can you, paint us a picture?
Yeah.
What exactly is Flagstones? What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Okay, so picture this. A massive ditch, 100 meters across, shaped like a perfect circle.
Wow.
And all around it, you've got these pits kind of dotting the landscape.
Okay.
It's flagstones. And it probably had this big earth bank on top, like a wall made of earth. So, it must have been pretty impressive to see back then.
Yeah, so not just any old ditch, right?
Right.
This sounds like something that was really deliberately planned and built.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a statement.
And wasn't it discovered kind of recently, like in the 80s?
Yeah, it was. And get this, it was a total accident. They were building a bypass near Dorchester in Dorset,
Okay.
and suddenly, boom, they stumbled upon this incredible site.
Wow.
Actually, part of it's under that bypass now.
Really?
And another chunk is sitting right under where Thomas Hardy used to live, the author.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a pretty cool origin story, right?
Yeah, yes.
Discovered by accident. But I think the really shocking part is the dating, right? Can you walk us through that a little?
Oh, absolutely. So at first they thought flagstones dated back to about 2900 BC, which would have put it around the same time as Stonehenge's early phases.
Makes sense, I guess, right?
Yep.
Similar structure, similar time period.
Exactly. Seemed logical. But then they did this new analysis, a radiocarbon dating, on stuff from the site, like human remains, antlers, charcoal.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? The
Wow.
date got pushed back all the way to 3200 BC.
No way.
I know, it's crazy. That completely changes everything.
300 years. That's not just adjusting the timeline a little. That
Mhm.
completely changes how we think about this whole thing.
Yeah, it does.
So, what does that mean for Stonehenge? Could flagstones have been the inspiration for Stonehenge?
Well, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, it's certainly shaking things up in the archaeology world. If flagstones is really older, it could mean that Stonehenge, this monument that we've always thought of as being so unique,
Yeah.
it could mean it was actually inspired by something else, something earlier.
Whoa.
Right.
That's a big deal, right?
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
Okay, so are there any I don't know, obvious similarities between the two? Anything that supports that idea?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they both have that same circular ditch and bank structure.
Okay.
Obviously, Stonehenge got way more complex later on, but that basic layout, the core idea, it's all there at Flagstones.
Wow, that's amazing. So we've got this older site. It might have influenced Stonehenge, but what was happening at Flagstones? Was it just for burials or what?
Well, we know they were burying their dead there, for sure.
Okay.
Inside the main circle, they found at least 4 burials, 1 cremated adult and 3 kids, uncremated.
Hey.
And they also found 3 more, partial cremations of adults kind of scattered around the site.
Okay.
But get this, about 1,000 years after they first started using the site, they buried this young guy right smack in the center under a massive sarsen stone.
Wait, a sarsen stone, like the ones at Stonehenge?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, so I'm trying to picture this, right? You've got this huge stone marking this one particular burial.
Uh-huh.
What does that tell us about how these people thought about death and rituals and stuff?
It's really interesting, isn't it? It shows us how their practices changed over time.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got all these different burial types.
Right.
So flagstones was clearly used for a long time, and their beliefs and rituals probably evolved too.
Makes sense.
That central burial, the one with the sarsen stone, well, that might mean they started putting more importance on certain people or certain families, lineages.
Yeah. That's fascinating. It's we're getting this glimpse into their society, how it changed.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned that Flagstones was connected to other sites, like Landigai and Gwynedd.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell us, like, about the bigger picture?
It tells us that Flagstones wasn't just some random isolated place. You
Right.
know, Landigai, it also has a circular enclosure. So
Mm.
this points to like a whole network across ancient Britain.
Wow.
They were sharing ideas, practices, architectural styles.
So it's not just about one monument. It's about understanding, like, this whole web of sites and how they all connect.
You got it.
Okay, so I'm curious about what the experts are saying about all this. Like, what does someone like Dr. Susan Greeny, she led the research on flagstones. What does she think about all of this?
Well, she's saying that flagstones is like a key, it helps us understand how ceremonial monuments developed in Britain.
Okay.
She sees it as a bridge between, well, between those earlier causewayed enclosures, which are, these large ditched areas with banks inside, often used for rituals, and then later henges like Stonehenge.
Oh, so it's like a missing link then.
Pretty much,
Mm.
yeah. It makes us rethink the whole timeline, the influences at play in Neolithic Britain.
That is huge. So it really makes you think, if a monument as iconic as Stonehenge, the Stonehenge, might have been inspired by a place that not many people have even heard of, like flagstones.
Right.
What else is out there? What other secrets are still buried, waiting for us to find them?
That's the beauty of archaeology, isn't it? There's always something new to discover.
Yeah,
We're constantly challenging what we thought we knew, and there's always more to dig up, both literally and figuratively.
it's true. It's a good reminder that we're still learning, and that even the most famous stories can be rewritten.
Exactly.
If something as monumental as Stonehenge could have been, influenced by a place like flagstones, imagine what else is out there.
Mm-hmm.
What could these discoveries teach us, not just about our past, but about ourselves? You
Yeah,
know, something to think about.
definitely is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Until next time.